Hello, Dwight. How you doing? Good to see you in here tonight. Can you hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up. Very good. Thanks. We'll see if anybody else shows up tonight. Hey, Rick. How you doing? Good to see you. Well, it's Cab Crew Wednesday on February 28th. One more day left in February, thank goodness. And March 1st is on Friday. So it's bad weather here in New Jersey. Hi, Tammy and Ray. How you doing? Good to see you in here. Yeah, yeah. It's supposed to be the temperature is going to drop down 40 degrees tonight, and it's going to get below freezing again here in New Jersey. So I'm going to work from home tomorrow because the roads are going to be wet, and then it'll be all icy. So I'm going to just work from home tomorrow. I already notified him. So we had 73. I wish it was 73 here. And hey, ACR and R and then Scale and Life Journey. How you doing? Got to see you in here. Yep. So um, what I've been doing is been working on my subway system. I posted a video a week ago about my progress on it, and I got down to the third corner finally, and had some designing some of my brackets so it would fit around that corner because the turntable was right there where the subway was going to go. So I had to make some brackets with longer things. Hey, John Benicki, how you doing? Glad to see you in here. And so I finally got the pieces around the corner, and then I noticed something else. It was angled in towards the inside a little bit. So what I'm making right now on the printer is this is like the sections that I've been making, like this. And when it came in, it was like angled in a little bit. So I have to straighten it out. So on that piece there I'm making, I put an angle going across. So that way when I butt it up against it, it'll twist it and straighten it out. So I kind of measured it with another piece and then just moved it. And these are 9 inches long from here to here. So I made it 9 inches on the one side and 8 inches on the other side, dropped it an inch. So then I can angle it and try and make it go, straighter. So we'll see how it comes out. I can just maneuver it a little bit if I need some space. So that piece there is at 93%. That was a 16-hour print. I started that this morning when I woke up before I went to work. And so that's printing now. And then this here is the next section that goes after that piece. But I got to print more brackets to hold them up. And so I'm on the last leg of the subway system. I got one side to do to come down, and then I got one more corner to make. That's going to be an easy spot because I can stand there and work on it instead of hanging on my creeper upside down and stuff like that to work on it. So that's what I've been working on. And the other thing I've been working on is all my signals on my layout. I got, hey Sparky, how you doing? Good to see you. I finally counted them all up. There was over 250 signals I have, and I had to take them, and each wire on the signal, they're either 3-wire for the dwarf signals with this, the red and green, or 4 wires with the red, yellow, and green. And I had to solder a resistor on all the wires to help protect the lights. So I just finished up the helix over the weekend. That was like 60 some signals on the helix that I had to fix. And I had to move a couple because I designed the entrances for the subway system. And I got to build one more bridge for the subway, and then I can put the other signals in place. So it's almost, I'm almost to that point where I'm going to start working on that other bridge. I found a model that I'm going to 3D print, and I'm going to see if that works. The bridge is going to be over 5 feet long. So I'm going to make 9-inch pieces and try to glue them together and see how stable it is. I got some 1/4-inch plywood that I made and cut it. I was going to do that for the bridge, but then I said, let me see if I can 3D print something with the girders and stuff on it. And I'm going to try that first and see how that comes out. But that'll probably be later next month, because these pieces here are 18 hours. Actually, they come out to about 22 hours, and they stand up when they print. But when I did that one, I accidentally figured out that I can lay it flat on the plate, and that cut down 2 hours off of the print. So I'm going to put these flat and see how much that takes. Yeah, 5 feet. Yeah, that's a long way to go. Hey Heath, how you doing? Glad to see you in here. And so it's going to be an interesting bridge to make. And so, yeah, Heath, it's me tonight. Yeah, I think Derail Darrell did it last week. I was under the weather, so I didn't come on last week. But that's how it goes. So those are the things that I'm working on. And then I also, I 3D printed my own signals, and the dual-headed ones I need for my turnouts in some places. And it was a little bit too wide. The model I have is a little too wide for the area on the helix. So I found a single mask with 2 signals on it on eBay, and it's coming from China. And I ordered that. And then the next day, I had to order this board. It's a circuit board, DC to DC. And what it does is it allows you to take a DC bus line, and then you can like have a 16-volt DC bus line, and then you can change the voltage on the board, and that'll make you can reduce it down to a 3-volt or 6-volt or 12 volt, whatever you need for the device. The reason I got that is because I bought a fire truck from East Coast Circuits, and it came the other day, and I took it out of the package, and I got my 9-volt battery, because on the package it said use 9 volts to 12 volts DC only. So I had a 9-volt battery laying around, put it on, no lights. I said, what's going on? So then I put my meter on the battery, and I found out that the battery is only putting out 3 volts. So I had to run to the store and bought some more 9-volt batteries. And I put my meter on it, and I saw I was getting 9.6 volts out of a good battery. I put them on, still no lights. So then I had them email back and forth with the East Coast Circuit guys, and then I just shipped it back to them today. They have to take a look at it, find out what's wrong. So hopefully I'll get that. I have never gotten those to work well with DCC. Let me know if one you have to work. I had to get the one from ISE. Got what, the Lighteds? Is that what you're talking about, Heath? Because I know I can come over and help you get them to work. They're easy enough. So, so I had to ship that back to them, and eBay ordered the one I ordered the day before wasn't shipped yet, and then I ordered that board the day after, and about an hour after I ordered it, it came with a message saying that it was shipped, and I says, great, it was shipped. Then a couple of hours later, the one I ordered the day before was shipped. Oh, the DCC converter. Now mine's DC to DC converter. So it's so then the second one email, that was the signal that I ordered. That's moving. I have an app on my phone that tracks foreign packages. These packages are both coming from China, and the one from the first day I ordered the signal, and that was the last one that was shipped, and that was moving in the app. I saw activity on the app, but then the one that shipped immediately wasn't moving. So I went on my eBay account, and then I contacted the seller, and then all of a sudden, boom, it started moving. So he must have just dropped it off of a shipping there. No, the DC to DCC converter, the ones I found online from Amazon. I thought you said you were going to use it with the track power. No, Heath, I'm not using it with track power. I have a DC bus line that goes around my layout, and I set that up originally for my KD number 309, which is that electromagnet that they have. I have one of them in front of my yard on the lower level, and I have a button that I push, and then that makes the magnet active for 30 seconds, and that powers off of a DC bus line, not a DCC bus line. So then I extended it to my upper level, where I had some LEDs that I got from Evans Designs, and they needed 3-volt DC to run. So I ran a line up to there, put one of those converters on there, and regulated it down to 3 volts. Tested it on my meter. I had 3 volts on the 2 wires, and then the lights worked. So that's what I used, and they work well. And that's what I have coming on automatically there. Thanks for that, AC. So it's like been busy as heck with trying to get that all to work, and with the signals, converting them over using the resistors on all the wires. It took me a while to get a lot done. So I only got one section left to do, and that's my new yard. There's 60 signals up there, but fortunately 54 or 56 of them are dwarf signals, so I only have to do 3 wires. But I have to, hey, Ray Burleson, glad to see you made it in here. Good to see you. So I have to pop them off and unscrew them from the terminal block, solder the wires on, and solder the resistors on the wires, and then put them back in place. It takes time to do each one. But on the Helix, I was lucky. A lot of them I could solder right in place because they were in easy spots to get to. But some of them I had to take off because they were on the back side of the Helix, and it was hard to get a soldering iron in there. So I just disconnected them and removed them and soldered the resistors on, and then put them back in through the hole and everything. So it's a lengthy project. So I haven't been running the trains and anything because I didn't want to turn the system on and destroy my lights, because one day I turned it on and I saw the signals were flashing on and off, different colors and everything. And I said, what the heck's going on? I thought I had a lighted problem. Hey, Grandpa Rails, glad to see you made it in here. How's everything going down there? So that's why I don't run my trains that much. And I did it the other day to show you the subway system, because I had most of the signals done. So I'm almost done with them. And once I finish them, then I'm going to go through each one and check each aspect. But I was making a video showing that progress. I haven't gotten finished with it yet, but I'll put that up to show you what I did on the signals. So, and all the new signals won't be a problem because I'll know what to do with the signals, because I have about 20. No, I got about 30 signals to put on the subway system. So, I'll have to see. I was just before the stream, I was laying the track up on the subway system on the new sections I just put in. I'm almost right to the corner. I have the corner pieces in. I put a piece of flex track in there, and it's not quite enough. I got to add more track to it. So I'm probably I'm gonna make certain pieces, because I have to put a subway station over there. I don't know where I'm going to put it yet, and I'll have to cut some track because I have to make the subway station a block. And because when the trains are running in JMRI with dispatcher, I can stop the train at the block, and then I can pause it, and then it'll continue. And I have it set up to have the conductor in the subway cars say next station, and it'll announce the next station on there. So I'm going to see how that all works once I get the tracks up there and the trains running. But I have to have the signals in place because the, I have two trains running, and there's a crossing on the one side of the subway system. So they cross over and they go from inside the outside and outside the inside. And I need the signals there so that the train will know if there's a train in that crossing. And if I don't do that, don't have the signals, then I could have a crash. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Glad to see you in here. Keeping on the tracks. And off the rails, Western. How's things in Australia? Heard they had to evacuate a lot of people out of an area down there that's on fire. Are you anywhere near that? Hope everybody's safe down there. I heard that on the news today. See, did I miss anybody while I was jabbering there? OTR. Off the rails. Oh, that's what that stands for. Okay. I thought it said OVR. I said OTR. Yeah. So I've been pretty busy trying to get things worked out here, and 3D printing the subway system has been almost continuous with the Viper. So I was having problems with it and couldn't get it to work. I contacted Anycubic. They sent me parts, which I still haven't gotten yet. So what happened was, I don't know if you can see it, but this is a tube, and the filament goes in this tube, comes out of the roll here, goes through the sensor in the back, you can't see that, and then the gear box, and then that feeds the filament in. Well, the tube I had, when I took it apart, it was cracked on the part where it goes up against the nozzle in the printer. And what happened was the crack, the filament, when it was hot, was oozing out and blocking the filament from moving through the nozzle. So I ordered a long time ago. I ordered more tubing because I've had this problem in the past where the tubing went bad and I had to replace it. But it was a clear tubing, and that seemed to melt at. Hey, Rick, how you doing? Seemed to melt because of the high temperatures in the nozzle. So I wanted to get the same type of tubing that came with the printer, and I then found it on Amazon. They had it finally, and this is like a Teflon tube. The clear is nicer because you can see the filament go through, right? And what I was having trouble with was when I would put the filament in through that gearbox, I was having trouble getting it to align up with the tube that's in there. And then when it would go in here, it wouldn't go down through to the nozzle. So once I put the tube on, the new tube on, now when I slide the filament in, it slides right all the way through. And if that nozzle is hot, which it is because I'm going to do a filament in, I can push the filament from over on this reel in through the nozzle. So it worked. It's working now. And the parts that they're replacing are that gearbox and I think the other part inside here. They're sending me that. They emailed me that they shipped it and it was coming from California. Well, it sat in California for over 5 days. Then after the fifth day, I see from California, it made it to Indianapolis, Indiana. It sat in Indianapolis, Indiana for 5 days. I could have walked from California and picked it up and walked back in that amount of time. I don't know what FedEx is doing out there. And the app said, due to weather conditions, that's why they were having a delay. Well, this was in what I always understood was sunny California. Okay, the town was a suburb of San Diego. Now I understand that in San Diego, it's like 75 degrees throughout the winter time. So I don't know what kind of weather conditions they possibly could have had. Maybe it was too sunny and the pilots were getting the sun glare. They couldn't take off. I don't know. But now it's in Pennsylvania, and we'll see how many days it sits in Pennsylvania. So, but I don't need the parts because I got it working. But I'll keep them on hand in case something happens to them later on. Because, you only can get free parts from any cubic up to when the hey Russ, how you doing? Good to see you in here. You don't never know when something might break. So it's just yeah. But it's just funny how it sat out in California for 5 days. Now I used to work for FedEx, and that would have never happened when I worked for FedEx. We had people complain if it was 1 day late, and nowadays things have gone pretty bad with the way things are shipped anymore. So, but we'll wait and see. But it's funny, the app that shows me the international orders, it gave me a post office tracking number already. So I don't know if they're going to come into California or New York. If it comes into New York, I'll have it in the next day or two. If it comes to California, it'll be a week before I get it. So it's just the way it goes. You won't get a motherboard until the 20th of March. Yeah, I saw your video, Dwight, on the it won't read the SD card anymore, correct? So they're going to replace the whole motherboard for you, or did you have to buy the motherboard? So yeah, now after this thing finishes, I got to print some brackets so I can hold these sections up. I had to buy one. Oh, really? Well, I don't think those parts are that expensive, but I got a new motherboard for the Viper. They sent me one a month ago for another problem, but then we corrected it by making some adjustments. And then I found another thing that I never knew. The sensor on the Viper, I was getting a message all the time on my screen when I was printing. It was saying sensor failure or insufficient filament. And I had a full roll of filament on the spool, and it was only $55. That's not too bad. And so I go, what's going on, And then I would just hit OK, and then it would continue printing. Well, I was printing one of these when it happened, and I started it at nighttime, and when I go to bed and it still prints. Well, I got that message in the middle of the night. Well, it's standing up like this, and it's only halfway done. And I'm looking at the screen, and it said insufficient. And I go, okay. And then I hit resume, but the printer started printing a little off, and it put a big wad of filament along the edge here. And I said, okay, so I canceled that job. And then I said, I got to figure out what's going on with the sensor. So I took the sensor off of the printer, and I did one of these things. And I heard something inside. So I pried it open, has a place where, it's formed together in two pieces. I took it apart, made sure I could put it back together. And I looked inside, and here there was 4 little pieces of filament that must have broke off. They were not real big. They were tiny pieces, and they that's what was causing the problem. So I cleaned it out. I cleaned the little gear that was in there, and put it back together, and now it's running perfect again. So I said, you like chocolate? Chocolate ice cream? Chocolate opals and dragons breathe. Opals are the best. So, you have to keep on top of these things. You never know. Like, I would have never guessed to look inside that sensor. And I don't know what made me think of it. Sometimes a thought comes into your brain and you go, what's going on? And that took care of the problem. But that's why they sent me the motherboard, because I was telling them I was getting a sensor error. So now I have a motherboard for that machine. If I ever need it, it's I'll have it. So they'll support you as long as you have the printer, but they won't give you free parts. I think it's a year after you buy it. So I'm just hoping that I get that. Yeah, that's right, Dwight. That's the only way you can figure things out, by taking them apart and then looking at them. So, like, I learned all about the heat sink device inside there. I had to do that and figure out how to take this all apart and put that together. I had to replace that. I have one here. I can show you what it looks like. This is the heat sink assembly on a Viper. And then the filament, see, there's the nozzle. That's the nozzle. That threads in to the bottom here. And then the filament goes in through here. I can't get the camera to, let me see. Yeah, there. Goes into there. See, there's the hole. Now you can see the hole. So the filament goes through there. And then it comes down to the top. But the tube goes in here. That white tube I showed you there, that Teflon tube, that goes in there too. And then the filament goes through the tube, and it sets, the tube is supposed to set on top of this nozzle. And maybe when I was putting in the other tubing that one time, maybe the edge was a little on an angle, and when I pushed it down, was enough to leave a little section there. So yeah, that's right, Mike. Once you put it back together, you just hope it works. Well, when I take things apart, I always look at what I'm taking apart first. So then I got a mental view of what it was. And if it's too complicated, I take a picture off of my phone of it, what it looks like. Then I can look at the photo and see, or I'll write it down, like this wire goes here and that wire goes there, or stuff like that. And what happened on the one of these I had to replace, these are two little wires right here. Let's see if you see right there, the two little wires, and they broke off somehow. I don't know how they broke off. And that's why I had to replace this unit. But you can get this unit on Amazon. The Amazon has a lot of Viper parts, but I bought one from Amazon and it didn't work. So then I got it from Anycubic and then that worked. So I don't know what the difference was. One of those things where sometimes the parts are not actually the right parts for what you need. Yeah. Yeah, I know, Mike. It's always something like that. But what are you going to do? It's just funny how it goes. So, yeah, it's just been hectic with all the stuff going on here and working at work and coming home. But I already informed work that I am going to retire January 31st, 2025. I said, you guys better figure out what you're going to do when I leave. And hopefully they bring in somebody to take my place, or they're going to be in big trouble. But that's not my problem after January 31st of next year. Hey, Randall, how you doing? Got to see you made it in here. So, yeah, it's just always fun to. Thanks, John. Yeah, I'll be 69 in December. So that's the big number. That's going to be my retirement year. It's been a long time. I've been working since I was 12 years old, doing, cutting grass for people, doing the papers, pumping gas, all that kind of stuff. Went to college for a year, came back home, got married. I was 20 years old when I got married, and it was just, it's been working ever since. So, long overdue. Yep, that's right. I'll be able to do, yeah. Yep, that's right, Russ. Well, I was born in 1955, so you can do the math. Hey, Derek, how you doing? Good to see you in here. Yeah, I hope I make it to 2055. That'll be cool. Well, that's why I got the house. I was living in apartments for a long time after I got divorced and moving around here and there. Where I'm working now, I was real close living in the apartment, but I didn't want to spend, um, $2,500 a month for a one-bedroom apartment near New York City. So I said I can use that money and buy a house. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'll be able to relax and enjoy my trains, and I can work on a lot of scenery enhancements as I go, and whatever 3D printing things I can do. Mike, you're not moving into my shed. Why can't he, Sparky? Yeah, 3 years to pay it off. Well, I got a long time before I pay off my house, but I'm not worried about it. It gets paid off when it gets paid off. It's a good tax write off. That's next week's job to do taxes for this year. Got all my papers now finally, so I got to do that, and I do the families and stuff like that. So keeps me going. I know how Schuylkill River must feel with he's busy with his taxes now. Yeah, that's nice, JD, to be able to live with family, especially since I got a nice building out there for your trains to put in. That makes it real nice. Yeah, 6 years ago. Yeah, I could pay off my house now if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I'd rather keep that money and use it to do some things when I retire. So all that money is invested right now. So we'll have to see how that works out. Non-taxable investments and stuff. Yeah. That's the only trouble with having another building. Then you have to heat that building or cool that building depending on where you live and everything. I like mine in my house. This way, the whole house is heated and or cooled, and I don't have to worry about doing it in another building. The White's been retired since 2011. Very cool. Yeah, so that's what the plan is anyway. And I got my train freak shirt on today. I won that on a show one time, so he sent me the shirt. So tracks. I was only 15. Hey, you're a youngster, Mr. Mike. I don't remember where I was in 2011. Oh, I was back in New Jersey. Yeah, yeah, because I lived in Florida in 2004, 5, and 6, I think it was. Yeah, because I moved back for 7 and 8, and 7 and 8. Yeah. So yeah, I was in New Jersey then. That's been it was fun living in Key West, but I spent most of my spare time rebuilding my house down there. I had to do it twice after a couple of hurricanes, and it's no fun, especially when you can't get anybody to help you. So, but, yeah, once I get my trains running, I'll be able to start streaming from that room again. That behind me, this here thing, that's my table that I put my laptop on in the train room so I can stream from there. But that's I'm using that as a work area right now. As you can see, there's all kinds of, if I lean this way, all kinds of stuff. There's track up there. There's tortoise machines. There's a couple of Cobalt IP machines. I got to set up those turnouts. So got to use all the space to put that in. You guys are all youngsters in your 50s. I remember being 50. Yeah. So yeah, we all miss Mr. Plummer on YouTube still. Well, I saw him at Amherst, and I was trying to talk him into coming back, and he said he was going to think about it. So hopefully he comes back. Then we picked up another good member to the crew, Mr. Trackside Mike. He's been a good addition to the Cab Crew Wednesday guys, and that helps us out. Now this month is only 4 weeks. I don't know when the next 5-week month is, but it might. So only another 20 years to retire. LOL. Yeah. Yeah. Dwight's only 25, huh? Yeah. Corey too. Well, people get busy in their lives, and things happen, and people get upset about things that happen to them and stuff like that, and it's kind of hard to show up with a smile on your face when you got a lot of diversity in your life. So just how it goes. But what can you do? Well, Dwight, all you have to do is scan yourself and make a 3D print of yourself, and you can make it any age you want it to be, right? I got myself scanned. I don't know if you guys saw that video where I posted the ones I got from being scanned, but I'm going to put them on a layout eventually, and I'll show you that. May has 5 Wednesdays. Yep, that's good. I thought so. I haven't looked at the calendar yet, JD. Yeah, if he was born on a leap year, Tony Robbins is going to be 16 this year because he was born on 2/29. Yeah. But don't they get to pick February 28th or March 1st to be their birthday, those people that are born on the 29th? I think that's what they do. I guess when you're a kid, you probably want your birthday sooner, right? So you probably pick February 28th. Well, that's not as bad as my cousin. He was born on December 25th. So he always felt slighted on Christmas Day because he didn't get a birthday present. They said it was a birthday present, but then how do you know it's a birthday present or a Christmas present, right? I was born on December 2nd. That was close enough to Christmas. Ops scan. Yeah, the guy I got scanned by, he scanned it in 10 seconds. He had 30 plus cameras around the booth, and you just went in there, you posed, he took a snapshot, boom, you were done in 10 seconds. If you paid for, I paid for 2 different poses, so um, it was easy, and it took me 20 seconds, one for each pose. My mom was adopted. She has 2 different birthdays. Yep. The day she was born and the day she was adopted, John, I'm guessing. I don't know. Well, when you get older, you got more things to do, don't you, John? You're always busy with this and that. But when I retire, I'm planning to work on a layout and do some traveling around the United States. I've already traveled out of the United States. I have no desire to go to any other countries. Maybe Italy is the only place that I haven't been to yet. I'd like to go there and visit family that I have over there. So all my aunts and uncles on my both sides, my mother and father's side, they came from Italy. My mom and dad were the two. Well, my mom was the third youngest out of 7 kids, or the second youngest out of 7 kids. She was born here, and my father was the youngest of his family of 5, and he was born here in the United States. Yeah, so well, it's harder to track her real parents, but can't they do that with DNA testing now, John? I thought they could find out things with the DNA. Because if you run your DNA, then they could tell you who the family string is, and they would be able to find out who her parents were. Yeah, 30th of December is not a good one either. And my ex sister-in-law, she was born on the 30th, and my other ex sister-in-law, she was born on the 31st. So she was a almost a New Year's baby, but missed out by 2 hours, I think it was. Um, I don't know how that works, Derek. I thought they could track things without even having people give samples. Because my daughter did one, and she traced the family tree back to like 300 years. And those people didn't give DNA back then. So they have a way of doing it without having a sample. So sometimes they can track family. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right, John. They can track family. I know. Because my daughter, her and her husband and my 2 grandsons, they're going to Italy this year because she is sponsoring um, a student that's from Italy, and he's been here in the United States living with them for I don't know, maybe 6 months now. He's been going to school here in the United States where they live. My daughter and her husband are both teachers, and an exchange student is what you call it. That's what she. So he's from Italy, and they're gonna. go back with him when he goes back to Italy after he graduates this coming June, and they'll be over there to play. My wife is all Italian. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm all Italian. Both my parents were Italian. My ex-wife wasn't Italian, so my kids are half Italian. But um, my parents were to Italy. They went over there a couple times, but I never went. So that's one place I want to go someday. The only place on that's a thing on my bucket list, I guess. Colonel Sanders. Talking about Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Sanders. I think that guy passed away, hasn't he? I thought so. Because Kentucky Fried Chicken chain went downhill after that. Godfather Grassi, yes. I could tell you stories about that. I'll just give you a quick one. One day I was driving to work. I had a 1975 Pontiac Trans Am, blue, with the big bird on the front and all that. Fast car. And there was a pickup truck. And this was a single lane highway I had to drive to work. It was 20 miles one way. And a pickup truck in front of me was going slow. So I finally got to a spot where there was dotted lines and I passed him and didn't think anything of it. I get to the town where I go to work and there's a traffic light there and there's like 4 or 5 cars before the traffic light. And I come to a stop. I always like to stop a car length behind the car in front of me in case something happens in front of me, then I can get around. And a lot of people just like to come right up and butt up against the car that's sitting there at the light. This pickup truck goes around the double line and goes around my car. Their windows roll down and they throw bottles of beer, not plastic bottles. This was glass bottles back then of beer, because the beer went flying and shattered all over my hood of my car. Now I'm pissed. Now I had on a dress shirt and white pants because I was going to work. I worked the second shift. This was like at 4 o'clock, 3:30 in the afternoon. I'd be at shift at 4 o'clock. The guy, I get out of my car. I'm going to run up to the truck and start giving them hell for throwing beer bottles on my car. Well, 4 guys get out of the truck, and I'm 5'10", and they were 6 foot plus, and they weren't small. So I got back in my car quickly. I didn't want to tassel with 4 guys. 1 guy, maybe, not 4 guys. So I get back in my car and my window is down. The 1 guy grabs my arm, puts it up on the roof, and then starts punching me in the face. Now I'm bleeding from the punching. A lady in a car coming the other direction has her window down and she screams out of the window, "Leave him alone. Don't do that." I didn't even know who this person was. So after she screamed at him, they all jumped back in the pickup truck. Well, I wrote down the driver's license. I look around and it's a small bank, and then there's a shopping mall there. There was a supermarket store there, and a Kmart back then. There was a Kmart building there, and there was a cop car sitting there looking over the intersection. Now, he didn't see this truck screech around my car, throw beer bottles on my car, attack me, none of this. So I drive my car up to there. I'm standing there bleeding, and he goes, "Can I help you?" I said, "Didn't you see anything happen?" He said, "No, I didn't see nothing." Well, what do you think I'm bleeding from? I didn't pick my nose and start bleeding. He attacked me. He took my name and number. I never heard nothing. Well, here comes back to Mr. Godfather. I made one phone call to one of my buddies, and the next day, that pickup truck had 4 flat tires and no doors left on it. They trashed his truck. And that was the side. And he called me up and says, "It's all been taken care of, Tom. Don't worry about it." So I said, all you got to do is make a phone call. You don't have to get involved. So that's my Godfather story. Always something, you know. And they talk about road rage now. Well, that was back in 1978. I think it was 76, 7 or 78, one of those 2 years. Because the Trans Am was a 75. I had it for a couple years. It was practically new. Yeah, they're still alive. You know, they and they the I had to get my hood fixed because the beer bottles put dents in it because when they hit, you know, they came down with force. Had to get that fixed. But back then, it didn't cost much. So I knew a guy that worked on cars, and he fixed it for me, and looked like brand new. So yeah, it was crazy times. So we even had road rage back in the 70s. And that was after the gas shortage, when all those people were shooting people over getting in the gas line and stuff like that. Crazy times. It was pretty funny. I got my license in 1973. The day I got my license, which was, I was born in December, so I got my permit on December 2nd. I drove for 30 days. In January, I got my license. It was like the 10th or 12th of January. The next week, they started having the gas shortage. Because when I first started driving, I was driving for a year. My dad would let me drive the car, you know, and everything, because, and it, you know, that's how I got to learn how to drive. And gas prices were 17 cents a gallon, 18 cents a gallon, 19 cents for premium gas. And we were getting upset because the gas price went up to 30 cents. 1974. Yeah. And I got married in 1977. No, 1976. I got married in 1976. So I graduated from high school in 1974. So that's going to be 50 years come this June, graduation. I want to see how many people are still alive. 1988. Man, we were expecting our third child in 1988. He was born in 1989. Yeah, the gas shortage was like, I think 2 or 3 years. It was 1973 to 76, I think it was. A whole big scam. My father worked at a gas station part-time, so I didn't have any trouble. I would go up there after hours and get gas, but the lines were miles long and it was ridiculous. I'm surprised we didn't have one this time. Yeah, that's right, Derek. Yeah. Yeah, the flags, the odd and even number plates. You only can go on even number days if you had an even number plate, and odd number days, odd number plates. What a bunch of idiots. But that, I think out in California, people, I don't know if it happened in New Jersey. I don't remember. People are shooting each other out there, and probably a couple other states too. They got really crazy. Hey, Great Lakes Central 390. Glad to see you in here. Yeah, that's JD. That's when my youngest was born in May of '89. Yeah, he's my youngest son. He's the one that had a liver transplant when he was 19, when he was at college. Yeah, he came home. We had to bring him to the hospital, and he was a wrestler, and he was supposed to go to the Olympics and trials and stuff, and never got there because he ended up getting a liver transplant. He was a 140-pound wrestler, and when he came off the airplane, he was 290. They took out 45 Coke bottles of fluid out of him. That's how bad his liver was. So, but he's doing good now. He finished up college and became a school teacher. So he lives just down the road from me now. He's only I could walk to his house from here. So close by. He's married, and I have a granddaughter with him. Yeah, yeah, that's right, JD. He's doing well. Well, he had to. Um, oh, they sucked it out of him, Derek. It was unbelievable the amount of bottles of fluid they took out of him. When he came off the airplane, we didn't even recognize him. They had to wheel him out in a wheelchair. He had no joints. His urine, you know what black coffee looks like? That was the color of his urine. So we thought it was kidney failures, but it ended up being his liver. So they replaced it. And a few years later, he ended up, well, how he got the liver, they had to put him in a coma because I forget what the medical reason was. And he had like 48 hours. And then, so he was put on the donor list when he entered University of Penn in Philadelphia. But that day when they put him in a coma, he went up to the number one recipient in for the donor list for liver, and he was wherever it came, he was the first one to get it. So I was visiting him. I was still working. My ex-wife was stayed down there with him, but I drove down every day to see him. And then on the weekend, I drove down and I stayed all day, and then I left to go back home because I had to go to work the next day. And it was 3 hour drive to Philadelphia from where I was living at the time. And he my ex-wife calls me up when I got home at 11 o'clock at night and said they just put him in a coma and they don't know how long he has to live because he needs a liver immediately. So we were talking for about an hour. It was a little after midnight, about 12:15. Then I hung up and I said, well, just keep me posted because I was going to go down. And she said, don't come down because she knows I'd drive like an idiot to get there. And so at 12:01 that day, which was the next day, which was Monday morning at 12:01, a police officer in Philadelphia was shot and killed in a gunshot battle. And he was a donor, and he donated his liver to my son. So that's how my son got a liver right away. Well, they put the liver in. That took over 24 hours to do that operation. He recovered, and he was home for Thanksgiving, or was it Christmas? I forget. It was either Christmas or Thanksgiving. He came home and he had to go back. He was excused from the semester at the college, and then he made it and everything. A couple years later, he was having trouble with his kidneys. They were failing. And here they found out that his liver had a rare disease in it. So they said, well, we don't know, what we're going to do yet. So they ended up doing another liver transplant on my son. This is his second liver now. And they did it with the kidneys together. So they put a new liver and another kidney in him. The two kidneys he had, they disconnected them because they weren't no good anymore, and they're still inside him. They won't bother you. They leave them inside you now. So he's had a long, rough road, but he's doing well now, and everything's working now. So it's really strange how they can do all that stuff, keep you going. Yeah, that's right. He was. We found out that information. Usually you don't know who the donor was, but we put two to two together, and people were talking and stuff like that. So we wrote a letter to the family thanking them, and then they replied back. They were happy that it went in to my son. So yeah, but yeah, it is, John. It was a lot to go through. But we when my son and I, when he was younger, we used to travel all around the country. We've been to, I've been to 49 of the 50 states, and he's been to 48 of the 50 states. And we went around and we traveled with another friend of ours and his son. And we used to go to all these wrestling tournaments throughout the country. And that's how my son got to be really good, because he went around and wrestled the best of the best around the country. Well, we were in North Carolina once, and we were at a wrestling tournament there. And this guy walks up to me and says, "Hey, I saw your boy wrestling." And I said, "I'm impressed. Can I talk to him?" And I said, "Well, my son's concentrating on the tournament right now, but after the tournament, if he wants to talk to you, I'll let him know you want to talk to him." So he went over and talked to my son. Then he came over and talked to me. He says, "Yeah, I would like to have your son come down to my place and train. And I would like him to train with my son." And his son was a little bit younger than my son. My son was only 10 years old at this time. So then I found out this guy he was the CEO of Sharpies, and he lived in North Carolina. So I didn't think nothing of it. And then one day, just after school was out, we get a phone call, and a guy looking for directions to our house. And the guy shows up in a limo, and he comes to the door. I'm looking for someone, my son. And I said, okay. The limo drove him to the airport, and then they got on a private jet, and they flew him down to North Carolina. And he stayed down there for a month. They had a couple of Olympic wrestlers come in and train with the guys and everything. It was he really liked it, and it was a lot of fun. Well, that brings back to his liver transplant. When he was in Philadelphia, he had over 300 people come visit him in the time he was there. And when the operation was over, my ex-wife and I walked down to the accounting department and go, how are we going to, we want to figure out how we're going to pay this bill, because I didn't have insurance yet because I just started a new job and you have to wait 90 days to get insurance. My son had college insurance, and you know how good college insurance is. And my ex-wife had insurance, but we found out the bill was $1.7 million to do the liver transplant. And this is back in 2009, I think it was. 2009. And we said, how are we going to pay this bill? And she says, oh, it's been already taken care of. I said, really? Yeah, it's been taken care of. So I said, oh. So the only person we could think of that could pay that kind of money was that CEO from never found out who paid it or whatever, but we didn't have to take care of it. Somebody else did. So I don't know how they paid for the second one, but my son might have had better health coverage since he was a teacher and working for the state. So it's always something. But see what I mean? How people have different things going on in their life. You just never know. So that's how it is. Well, people, I've been jabbering here for over an hour and 15 minutes. I want to thank everybody for coming in and listening to me, and hope everybody has a great evening, what's left of it. And everybody work on your trains when you can. And I look forward to seeing all your videos. I watch as much as I can, either on my phone or at work. Sometimes I sneak in a video here and there. And just want to say thank you again for stopping in and spending time with me. And next week is, I'm not sure what the schedule is anymore. It might be Mike. Or no, Mike is supposed to do the third week. It could be our good friend Artie, but we'll find out. We'll let you know. So, hey Bernard C, how you doing? Sorry, I'm gonna just wanted to say hello. We had a 16-car derailment in tow today. Wow. Okay, folks. Well, that's it. I'm going to end the stream now. And again, I appreciate everybody stopping in, and everybody have a great day, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you all again soon. Everybody take care, and we'll see you. Good night, all.